Phil and I back in studio. Like we said, this is going to be brought to you on Friday, our little preview for the weekend. Now, we are filming this on a Thursday afternoon.
It is Thursday.
But by the time you're listening, it will be Friday and we'll be head on into the weekend. And we've got a little bit to unpack. So, I've decided I'm going to call this little betting preview Odds On. So,
Okay.
Odds On, group chat little segment brought to you by, of course, Betcha. Each week, Phil and I were going to get together, discuss how we're going to look to make a little bit of money over the weekend. I've come up with sort of 3 concepts I'm kind of keen to try, just to see if we can get the casual punters amongst the action throughout the weekend, see what kind of betting strategy or insight works the best.
Cool.
Let's dive straight into it. What's on for the weekend? We've got a busy weekend once again of parking up on the couch, for me personally, and being glued to the TV, watching all things sport. We've got NRL, Premier League, NPC, a little bit of golf. What are you looking forward to, Phil?
Yeah, there's some UFC in there as well. You pretty much covered it. I think I would do EPL. I'm looking forward to. There's a couple good matchups there. Brighton, Man United, Crystal Palace, West Ham. Liverpool, Brentford would be an interesting one, and obviously Arsenal, Aston Villa.
Game of the round for me.
Of course.
Naturally.
It's Smiley's favourite game. And then NPC, there's some huge matchups. North Harbour versus Waikato. I think they're $1.87 a piece. Otago, Bay of Plenty, and Southland back home versus a very good Taranaki side. Will be very interesting. Moving over to the NRL, you got the Wars versus the Dogs, the last home games for SJ, AFB, Jazz.
Tears will be shed
at Shaun Johnson Stadium, of all places. Dragons and the Dolphins will be 2 teams to keep an eye on as they fight for that 8th spot. I think Dolphins versus Storm and Dragons take on the Sharks. So 2 tough matchups there. UFC Fight Night. Yes, it is a fight night, but there is still some decent bouts happening. So I got some picks for that as well.
Beauty. Well, you touched on everything basically. I mean, aside from Wars Bulldogs, which will be Friday night, going to be a hell of a game. I think the atmosphere there, I mean, despite the season sort of being over for the Warriors, the Bulldogs are going to be right in it. They're going to be firing, and added motivation for all those boys' last games. I expect...
Last home game,
Last home game, yeah. I expect it just to be a massive game in general. But other than that, for me, the one that's kind of getting my attention is the Dragons Sharks. With the Dragons just on the cusp of that 8, Sharks on the cusp of the 4 as we head into 3 weeks away from finals footy. So, yeah, unsurprisingly for me, the game for Premier League will be the 4:30 a.m. start where Arsenal head to Villa Park. If you think there is a better matchup on the weekend, you're wrong. 2 top 4 teams going at it. I mean, they're facing off in week 2 of the season. It's pretty much, so you got to be hot straight out the blocks. There's no easing into it for these teams. And Villa last season beat Arsenal in both games.
Wow.
So it is a must-win game for Arsenal, although every game is a must-win game for Arsenal when you're trying to keep up with City.
Yes,
But this one feels very much so could set the tone for the season.
Looking forward to that one as well, to be honest.
So that's going to be good. NPC, going to be good as usual. You just said you got a couple multis on there. Where you kind of leaning towards there?
I got a singular multi on it. Look, NPC is starting to feel like sort of how it did back in 2012. Not with the crowd attendance, but certainly the energy and the level that they're playing at, how tight the competition is at the moment. Starting to feel good, and I'm enjoying it far more than I enjoyed the Super Rugby season. So that's really good to see for the NPC.
Like, it just seems there's a whole lot more buzz around it. You're getting some of the bigger names actually playing.
100%.
And seeing some quality rugby, to be fair.
So as I touched on that North Harbour Waikato game, I think $1.87 a piece. You can't get more 50-50 than that. North Harbour coming off a close loss to Bay of Plenty by 4 points.
Is there a point start in that? So obviously they're $1.87 a piece.
I think it was 0.5 when I was looking at it.
Who was favoured?
It was 0.5. That's a good point, actually.
Let's bring that up real quick. I wonder who is favoured in that.
Are you pulling it up?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll grab it. So that's where is the game? North Harbour Waikato, $1.87 a piece. The line favours Waikato minus 0.5 at $1.95. Harbour plus 0.5 at $1.80. So a slight edge towards Waikato.
Makes sense. Waikato coming off a close win.
Yep.
North Harbour coming off a close loss. That kind of makes sense to me. Waikato played Counties last week. I obviously lived in Hamilton for 8 years, so I'd love to see Waikato get the win here. But I have a sneaking suspicion that North Harbour are going to get a win here. They got a solid Wallaby number 10 and Tane Edmund.
Okay.
Sean Stevenson at the back. Not Sean Johnson. He's somewhere else. I just see it happening for some reason. I might just be North Harbour's time here. Waikato were lucky to get away with that win last week. And similarly, North Harbour unlucky to lose against Bay of Plenty. It might be an upset.
So you're picking Harbour in your multi?
We can have a look at what I did.
Let's have a quick look.
North Harbour, $1.87. Bay of Plenty, $1.72 against Otago, which again will be a really good game. Southland back at home. I think Taranaki will win this one. They look really good against Wellington, especially in the first half. Those horrible conditions at Jerry Collins Stadium.
Yeah, and there was the game beforehand which tore up the field. So they were playing in subpar conditions, would say.
Sliding for 50 metres. Southland squeezed in last week with that 15.5 points line. Southland at home, they look good. They're 1 from 1 there at home, and I think they squeeze in this 13.5 again.
Mm-hmm. I'd back them there. Did you see the crowd at their first home game for Stag Day?
Electric.
It's
insane.
Good.
It's good.
So I think the home crowd getting behind them, I'd back them to, what was the line? 13.5?
13.5.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep. Again, Taranaki probably do come out with the win, but that 13.5 looks good to me at 190. Tasman take on Counties Manukau, so I got Tasman winning that one. They just look too good. And Hawke's Bay, another team that looks on fire, taking them at $1.17 versus Northland. Not touching Auckland. I refuse to touch Auckland.
Auckland Canterbury, is it?
It is.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect out of that game. Both teams should, or you feel like should be doing better, or should have.
Yeah.
Auckland very disappointing.
I avoided that Tasman Canterbury game as well last week, just because it was a real up in the air result for me, and Tasman ended up dominating that one. Wouldn't be surprised for Canterbury to bounce back, and Auckland having that close loss against Otago, 2 points was it? So I'm avoiding that one.
Yeah, Otago looked to kind of dominate that game though. I had Auckland in my multi to win that game, and despite the late comeback, I don't know. I didn't really feel like they were going to win that after watching that. So how many legs was that multi?
5 legs for
legs.
$8.
Beautiful.
Not too shabby.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I'm looking forward to, and I mentioned it was the golf. So we're going to the BMW Championship, which is the second to last PGA event of the season.
Right.
Gets underway at Castle Pines in Colorado. And we're going to see the field whittle down to a top 30 for the FedEx Cup finale next week at Eastlake Golf Club. Where the winner will be awarded a nice little sum of $25 million.
Oh.
Yeah. Crazy.
Really?
Crazy money. And Scotty Scheffler, obviously, hot favourite for that.
God damn, 25 mil.
I don't really like picking outright winners for golf tournaments. So,
why is that?
I just golf wins on the day. Genuinely. I mean, Scotty won the gold medal, but he was 9 shots back going into the last round. Okay. And just stuff like that can happen out the blue. Bear in mind, Scotty is a generational talent behind Tiger. But I'm going to go with a bit of value here and go Bobby McIntyre. He's been heating up towards the back end of the season, and he's finished top 10 in last week's event with a larger field. So now that we're down to 50, I don't see why he can't do it again in the smaller field. And he's paying $5.50 to make top 10. He's been in some form. It's not going to be one of my bets that I'm going to say, push out there, but I'm going to keep an eye on the golf. So I'm going to have a little bet on it, and it's going to be a top 10 on Bobby McIntyre. So a little $5.50 to finish inside the top 10 after doing it last week. I reckon he goes again.
That sounds all right to me.
So that'll be my weekend full.
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see. I believe it'll be overnight tonight for us. So hopefully he gets off to a hot start, and I wake up tomorrow, and by the time the little show gets out there, he'll be
he's underway.
He'll be underway, and he'll be looking good.
Nice.
All right, so we'll get straight into our official picks.
Oh,
okay. If you're ready to,
Sure.
Beauty.
Sure.
We're gonna go with our gut feeling. So whatever the vibe is, you're betting with your heart. Okay, so for the casual punters, your vibes. We're gonna go for a stat-based play, and then similar to the stat, but it's gonna be a hot streak. Okay, so something that's been rolling over. I know one of the hot streaks I jumped on a wee while ago was the White Sox, the baseball.
Ooh.
To lose. We've talked about this. As soon as I jumped on them, they won. It was a 21-game losing streak.
Is your name Drake by chance?
Drake, get out here. So there are three things. We've got our gut play, our stat play, and our hot streak.
I like that.
Okay.
The top three in a way.
Alrighty, let's start. What is your gut play?
Gut play, going with my heart, despite the result of last week. Brighton getting the 3-0 against Everton. Man United getting squeezing a 1-0 out of Fulham. I'm going Man United to win at $2.60.
That's just a straight up win?
Yes, straight up win. And if you fancy, Xerxes has 100% success rate at the moment, 1 from 1. So Xerxes just
shots on target and goals? He only would have had the one shot.
Goals 1 from 1. So
true.
Xerxes to score is paying 3.10, and I do think he will start as the team gets fitter. Okay. I don't see us starting Fernandes as striker. That was an unprepared. Well, it was like, as Ten Hag said, they weren't ready for the league to start, but it started regardless, and they were just playing who was fit, basically. So with Xerxes' goal,
just putting out excuses in case of the loss.
Maybe, hopefully not. With Xerxes' goal, I think he starts. Man United win, and he potentially scores again.
So would you dabble in a little two-leg SGM, United to win, Xerxes score?
I would.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Well, I'm similar. My gut play is, and I said it earlier in the week, I think it's going to be a common reoccurrence, well, I'm hoping, the Saka Kai Havertz connection. And I'm really hoping as Arsenal roll into Villa Park and come away with the 3 points. And if we do come away, it's going to be thanks to either Kai Havertz goal or a Saka goal. Once again, could be tight, could be like a 1-0, 2-1 sort of scenario. But I think Kai Havertz, hell of a game last week. He looked good in that striker position when he's actually playing as the middleman up top. Tough to score in back-to-back weeks. I mean, you're going Xerxes. I'm going to go Kai Havertz.
I mean, this is gut feeling, right? So got to back your team.
My play is Kai Havertz to score anytime, $2.60.
Nice.
That's where I'm rolling with the gut feel.
Just Kai to score?
Just Kai to score. I wanted Arsenal. I wanted to throw in Arsenal to win.
Yep.
I can see. I think if Kai scores, Arsenal will win. But I'm just happy to go with Kai. Kai versus
maybe score. Watkins starts his season off against Arsenal.
Hopefully not. Please, Ollie Watkins, do not get started against Arsenal. Do you have a stat play?
I do have a stat play.
I'm interested to see what this is going to be, and the hot streak. I'm intrigued.
UFC, as I touched on briefly, the fight night. I'm going for Michael Morales. He is only paying 110. I think I jumped on him at about 113 versus Neil Magny.
$1.13.
Yes. So the stat here, this is what his head-to-head was.
Tell me.
But he's 4-0 in the UFC. 50% of those wins is by knockout. The other 50 is by decision. The last 2 fights were by decision. Professional record is 16-0.
Okay.
So Magny hasn't been outstanding, I would say. A couple losses heading his way recently. At the same time, he hasn't been knocked out since 2018. And he did get a KO in his last fight. So this is basically based off the 4-0 record from Michael Morales. He's younger, he's more hungry, and it looks at his last 2 by decision. So I'm going to say, based on the fact that Magny hasn't been knocked out since 2018, Michael Morales gets the win. And you can take that at $1.10 if you want. But I'm going to go by decision at $1.90. He could get the knockout. I would argue he's due one. I just don't think it's going to happen against Magny. So Michael Morales by decision $1.90. If you're doing a massive multi, then just stick to the $1.10 because he could get a knockout.
You'd be happy to throw him in there at $1.10?
100%. I already threw him in, I think, at $1.13. Already when I jumped on earlier. But the value is by decision at $1.90.
See, UFC stats scare me, man.
They are scary.
Just because, it's fighting. Anything can happen in a fight. Izzy was 20-0.
Yep.
And now he's, 24-4?
Yeah. Anything can happen. This is true.
So
this is true.
I rate it. I mean, hard to look past $1.10 favorite.
I'm on the Morales train. He's young. He's hungry. He's got good UFC stats. It is just a bit of a gamble for me. The only gamble is picking decision or knockout because of that 50-50.
Would you dabble on both? What's knockout paying?
I think it was about $3.10 or so.
And decision was $1.90.
Yeah, bookies obviously agree it's going to end by decision at $1.90, but I think that's the safer option against a very good, decent Neil Magny. And
it's only got to go the 3 rounds.
It's only the 3.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That is my stat play.
Nice stats.
16-0, Michael Morales. Watch out for him.
16-0.
Yeah.
Impressive. 4-0 UFC record.
4-0 UFC record. Correct.
Okay. Rate it. I'm going to stick with the Premier League for my stat-based play. I'm going to go to the dominant force, which is Man City. And I've got a little 3-leg same-game multi. I will be using the same-game multi-cover tool, and you'll see why.
Very nice.
I obviously don't need to convince you that when it comes to Man City at home, they're going to win. I think they had something like a 90% win record at home last year, especially against bottom of the half of the league teams. They're going to win. They're going to score goals. There's no doubt there. So for the first 2 legs are Man City to win and Man City total goals over 1.5. So for them to score 2 or more goals. Last year they scored 2 or more goals in 28 of the 38 games. So
Man City to win, Man City to score 2 or more goals.
Correct. And then the third leg this is the interesting part and the reason why we have the same game multi.
Haaland to score.
It's not Haaland to score. It's both teams to score.
Ooh.
So Man City were only able to keep a clean sheet in 13 games last year, leaving 25 games where they did concede. The Tractor Boys, they look good against Liverpool. They had their moments.
Yep, that first hour.
Haven't been in the Premier League for God knows how many years. There would have been some nerves, naturally. But now they head to the Etihad. It's a tough ask, facing the reigning Premier League champs. But I think that they're going to take one of their chances, especially if the game gets away from City, say they go up 3-0.
Yep.
There's lots of results last year where they ended up winning 3-1 or 4-1. So I think for both teams to score, which by itself is $2.30, is good value. I'd take that anyway. But in my little 3-leg same-game multi, Man City to win, total goals over 1.5 for Man City. Both teams to score, yes. Gives me $2.72. So, throw the same game multi-cover tool on it just in case
Nice.
Ipswich can't find the back of the net.
Nice. Very good.
But the stats are telling me that Man City will concede.
So
that's where I'm going with my stat play. Let's hear your hot streak.
We are moving to the Warriors Bulldogs game. And it's probably not a hot streak Warriors fans will want to hear.
Oh boy, here we go.
But it is a streak nonetheless and worth mentioning. Bronson Xerri has scored 6 tries in his last 6 games. That is a hot streak of note. That is 5. He scored in 5 of those last 6 for a total of 6 tries.
Okay.
So there's one game he missed out. And there's one game where he scored a double.
Yep.
This includes round 18 against the Warriors, a 13-12 result, and Xerri scored. So Bronson Xerri to score again on Friday is paying $2.15. Okay. That's a hot streak that's kind of hard to look past for me.
You're not backing against the Warriors. You're just saying he's going to score. So I don't mind it. 6 tries in 6 games.
Yep.
Where does he sit in the total tries? Do you know if he's like top 10?
No idea.
Just like scoring late back into the season against the Warriors.
Yep.
Okay.
And the Bulldogs are looking good. You cannot deny that.
They've got a point to prove. They got to keep winning games.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with the rugby league as well for my hot streak.
Very nice.
Obviously, we're deeper into the season, so more patterns are going to emerge. There's more time for a streak to kind of start. It is, again, a bit of an interesting one because of no Nathan Cleary. But you can't deny the hot streak, as you were saying as well.
Yep.
So Penrith have won 8 straight games when facing the Raiders.
Oh.
As favourites.
Oh.
They are, once again, favourites. But I'm going to add to that the fact that Panthers have covered the point spread in 7 consecutive games when coming off a loss. Obviously, last week's loss to the top of the table Melbourne Storm. Close one. But nonetheless, they've won 7 in a row, covering the spread after losing the week prior.
Okay.
So the point spread for this week is minus 9.5.
Yep.
Or 9.5. I think Penrith are going to cover that. My play, Penrith to cover 9.5 at $1.85.
Against the Raiders.
Against the Raiders.
9.5.
Yep.
Wow. After last week, when Raiders got battered 44 points to 4, whatever it was. That was the score, right? I'm pretty sure. Holy moly.
So 9.5. Wow. I don't know. Does that feel too...
No, Nathan.
I think that's what they're factoring into it. But does 9.5 not feel enough for you? I like taking Penrith minus 9.5, especially winning 8 straight games. They're not going to lose. Fingers crossed, they're not going to lose. Touch wood. 7 consecutive games.
Well, I'm surprised that it's not
higher.
Yes.
What do you think? Minus 14.5?
Yeah, 14.5, 15.5. Although it is Raiders at home, sure.
Yep.
But after the absolute beating,
what was the
42-4.
Yeah.
So I was close. They lost to the Storm by 2 points. Well, 9.5 is crazy for me.
So I feel like that.
Really?
That feels good.
It does feel good.
It's a hell of a streak. So we'll check back in next week and we'll see what kind of tactic worked. Whether it was betting with the heart, betting with the stats, or following the trends and the streaks.
Okay.
I have a feeling the streaks are going to continue.
Yeah.
Would be my kind of my gut feeling is the streak is going to continue.
Although streaks can end very quickly as well.
And I learned that when I bet on the White Sox to lose. Yep. So do with that information what you will. We're going to head up and get Chappie and Rick Dog from the studio in Auckland. They've sent us down their bet for the weekend. They're focused on, I believe, the United Brighton game.
Opening fixture, very nice.
So we'll hear from them what their picks are. And Phil and I, we're going to react to them and see what we think. See if it sways us. If they're going to support United, I doubt it's going to sway me, but it may touch you. It may tickle you. So
let's see what they got.
We'll see from them.
All right, slip, slop, slap, Chappie. We're off to the beach.
I can't wait for Manchester United to sunburn my night.
Yes, indeed. They head to Brighton and Hove Albion. Now, last season, this game finished 2-0 to Manchester United, and Casemiro was man of the match. He also dominated the Manchester City midfield in the Community Shield. He dominated the Fulham game, was one of the best players there, and he had 3 shots last week. I reckon he gets one in the back of the net this week. So I'm taking both teams to score and Casemiro, anytime goal scorer, $10.71.
Big dog, Rick Dog, to start off the round 2 of the Premier League. Yes, boy. Love that from you. I am really going to hope that United win, but paying $5.50 either team to come from behind and win, I'm going to take that and hope that Manchester United win, let's say 2-1.
2-1, there you go. Fill your boots, Charlie. Hope that helped.
I had a feeling I wouldn't be a huge fan of them, but I'll pass it to you first, Phil. Being a little Red Devil supporter yourself, let's hear your thoughts.
I don't mind that. Both those options, in fairness. I'm a little bit suspicious of that either team to win from behind.
Feels very English.
As a Man United fan, I'm not a fan of that. But, you know...
What about it coming from a Man United fan? How do you feel about that?
I think Man United are often the team to go ahead 2-0 and then lose. So I don't see us trailing and then winning.
Okay.
And also, interesting that the Brighton being a bogey team in recent years. 4 straight defeats in a row. But I mean, at the same time, the last fixture, United won 2-0 away. Mm-hmm. The fixture on Saturday, is away. So recency bias, the 2-0 win, it's good. The 4-0 losing streak is not great, I'll admit. It's not.
That's a hot streak.
That's not. But hey, let's look at the recent game, 2-0. We can go further than those 5 games.
No, I don't want
to. Okay.
No
Just
point.
saying. Because it's all Man United from there.
Okay. What about both teams to score? I think so. Both of them obviously think.
I do see that.
Teams are
I think
score.
that can happen.
There.
Yep. Brighton hot form 3-0.
Yep. United hot form 1-0.
I'm hoping it's a case where we just go up 2-0 and then Brighton score one in 90 plus 8, if anything.
So you could see that 2-1 win.
I could see it happening. I'd prefer a clean sheet. I think we look good defensively. So I disagree that we look shaky.
Yep.
Martinez and Mazraoui look good. And I think now, hopefully, we're moving into that space where the team feels more ready. We're going to have a proper starting 11, hopefully, such as Xerxes starting. Probably start De Ligt as well. So, yes, Brighton look like the better team, but they're also playing against a very poor Everton side that had a red card. They do look good. Matoma looks good, sure. Welbeck, good goal. But you have to factor in that United weren't playing their starting 11. They were playing players that were fit, and they still got the job done.
If someone's going to score for United, Casemiro would have been one of the last people I would have said.
Maybe not one of the last, but I don't see it happening this weekend.
Probably slightly in front of Onana, I would have put it.
He is dangerous in the box. I
feel like if United are going to score, it's got to come from a penalty from Fernandes. I don't want to say Garnacho.
Come on, put in Xerxes, surely.
Xerxes, or I feel like a Rashford.
And Rashford was looking good.
I feel like Casemiro, whatever his odds are to score.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the Casemiro pick either, but again, it could happen. He is dangerous. He's a world-class player. So.
I'm not taking anything away from him as a player. I just don't think he's going to score. I don't see him scoring.
Yeah.
Interesting, the 10 goals in the 4 last Premier League games between them.
That is interesting.
So why don't you just back the over total goals of, it might be 2.5. That could be paying some value, but who knows? Interesting. Yep. Well, thanks to the fellas.
Thank you.
You can follow those.
I don't mind it overall, I'll say.
Yep.
But I'll probably have to disagree as a whole.
And they'll have something similar before the game. If you're watching the game, you'll see Chappie and Rick Dog. They'll chat it out. They'll tell you again what they're thinking, just as they've told us.
How do you see? What's your pick for the game?
For the United game, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a 1 or 2 or draw potentially.
Okay. I respect that. Not a 3-0 or a 4-0 to Brighton as we've seen in the past. Coming from a Gunner fan, I respect that.
Yeah. All right. We're going to round this up. We have decided we're going to do our little 4-leg multi. the group chat odds on multi. We're going to pick 2 legs each. I'm going to build it, and we're going to place it. As always, if you follow Phil and myself, are we both going to place the bet? Or I can just place it. You're going to dabble as well?
I'll let you take the head on that one.
All right. So follow Phil on the Bet Social because he will be placing his own bets. Myself, if you want to see the group chat multi, you can just copy it from there. But let's hear your first leg, Phil.
How good. Speaking of that Bet Social, however,
talk to me.
Maybe I just drop in that Premier League one very quickly. There's a couple people have jumped on already.
While we're on it, I've got a couple NFL ones on there. Couple futures bets. I feel like one might be paying close to like 14 grand or something.
I've seen you dabbling in the futures market. I've seen you.
Yeah. Brees Hall for Offensive Player of the Year. I've got him in my sleeper as my RB1. So for a big year. Anyway, what's your Premier League?
Premier League consists of 6 legs. Manchester United kicks it off with the $2.60. Leading into the Man City, getting the job done over Ipswich. Draw, Southampton and Nottingham Forest.
Okay.
Both shaky opening games. Rolling that into a Crystal Palace versus West Ham. Crystal Palace taking that one at 2.15.
Get a bit of luck their way this time?
I think so. I think Eze will score another banger, and this time it will count. The draw, by the way, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, paying $3.40.
Who's favoured in that game? Southampton.
Great question. Anyway, Tottenham, $1.44 versus Everton.
You're backing them? Yeah, it's against Everton.
They had a horrible first game.
As much as I don't like backing Tottenham.
There's no Jamie Vardy to equalise for them, so Tottenham to take that one out. And then the last one, Newcastle United, beating Bournemouth, $2.15.
Seems doable.
I think so.
So only the one draw result in there?
Yes, and that was Southampton, Nottingham, correct?
Yeah. I wonder if Woodsy's going to get on the scoreboard again.
I wouldn't mind that. I do like a bit of Woodsy from the old St. Paul's Collegiate. And the Southampton game was an interesting one. They had 78% possession against Newcastle. And as you recall, they lost 1-0. Newcastle had 3 shots, 1 on target, which means
here comes the stat play.
22% possession for Newcastle, and they still beat Southampton. I think it's they're going to struggle for goals, and I see that one being a draw.
Yeah, so that's almost a stat play on that one.
What were we doing? The multi.
The group chat multi. So we're both going to pick 2 legs. I'm going to combine them and we're going to see what we got. So let me clear my bet slip just because I've got so many bets in there. They're all winners as well.
Okay.
But hit me with your first leg.
How about you hit me with your first one? Because my first one is going to be dependent on what you say a little bit.
Okay. Well, my first one, I spoke about the Panthers, their hot streak. I feel like you're going to agree with it. You seemed to like it. My first leg is going to be the Panthers to cover the 9.5 point start at $1.85.
$1.85.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we're at. First leg in the books.
Sweet. Based on that, we'll go Morales by decision.
Okay, so that's at the $1.90 as well.
UFC Fight Night. I was going to say just for him to win, but I would like us to keep the multi sort of stake nice and high. Get those margins up.
Morales by decision.
Should be $1.90.
By points at $1.90. Sorry, did you just tell me what your other one was?
What?
The other option that you were going to take instead?
Well, I was going to say Morales to win, but that's only now $1.10. I just don't think that's worth.
Rate the $1.90.
Yeah.
Okay, and my third leg, my second one. I said Kai Havertz is going to score. If he does, and this is a betting with the heart a little bit, but I just think Arsenal, revenge season.
Yep.
Getting into Villa Park, they're going to get the job done over Aston Villa. They're only paying $1.80 to win it. But we're sticking around that $1.80 to $1.90 mark for myself, and we are currently still in there. I'm putting them in as the third leg. Arsenal to beat Villa, just head to head.
Okay.
Hit me with your fourth leg.
Well, we can go Man United to win at 260. I do think it will happen. We can. I don't know if you want it in there.
No, I mean, it's your leg.
I'll give you two other options. We'll have to go back to the UFC for it, though.
Talk to me.
Borello and Jared Cannonier. Borello's paying $1.44. He's 16-1. Again, it's that hunger factor coming in, maybe. He's got a KO TKO versus Paul Craig. Jared coming off a KO TKO loss. So that's $1.44. In my opinion, I prefer the Man United win at 260. The other option is an underdog and Tabitha Ricci at $1.94. I'll leave that in your court. In my opinion, we should go with Man United at 260. That's where the money's at.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what.
As we know, anything can happen in that UFC.
With Borello in there at $1.40, we get $8.85 as the multi.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna let you do what you want to do. It's the first one.
Beautiful. Man United by 260, then please.
As much as it pains me, Man United at $2.60. I mean, we see some nice value there. Do we want to use any of the tools? We've got multi-rescue on offer in case one leg misses, because we do qualify for the 4 legs. Or we can odds boost it. So 16.45 odds boost, we get 17.76. Or we can multi-rescue it for some bonus cash.
Can we do a recap of the multi? What are we?
Penrith Panthers to cover the 9.5 point start against the Raiders.
Surely.
Morales.
Yep.
To win by decision.
Okay.
Or points, if we're being specific.
Yes.
Arsenal head-to-head against Aston Villa, and United head-to-head against Brighton.
I think purely because Morales could get a knockout, I think we should take the multi-rescue. I don't think it will happen, but it could.
Let's multi-rescue. I'm going to place that right now. So if you do want to follow along, it'll be right there. You can hit copy bet.
Ooh.
And yeah, use one of the tools. And I think that's just about us.
Nice.
Alrighty.
Looking forward to it.
Good luck for the weekend. I hope everyone enjoys their sporting weekend and hopefully makes a little bit of money.
Yes.
If you do want to copy or see all the bets we place, check out our Bet Social profiles. You can copy it, follow along. Or you can try the tried and true approach of fading every pick you see or hear talked about on the internet.
Very true.
That always seems to work.
See what Drake's going for, pick the opposite.
If you see any Drake things on social media, hit the opposite. You're guaranteed a little bit of money there. We'll check in next week.
How good.
Have a good weekend.